Hey everyone. So for today we have someone who was in chemical engineering earlier, but then he decided to get into food industry, which is quite interesting topic. And yeah, he is pursuing his masters from Drexel University, which is in US by the way. And yeah, let's go get some basic information about the Drexel University and how did he manage to get from chemical engineering background to food industry. Hey Sarvesh, how are you?
Hi, Shwarya. I'm good. How are you? How's everything
I'm
back?
also good. Everything is good, apart from COVID, obviously. So, Sarvesh, can you quickly introduce yourself and tell us about
Sure.
your journey to the university?
So it's been an hectic ride. It's been a
Mhm.
tremendous journey coming all the way to the US, getting adjusted to the place and things like that. Pursuing my bachelor's in chemical engineering. And that was the best time of my life because I hadn't yet decided that, what I want to do in the future or anything like that. There was no pressure of any kind. And then things happened. I always knew there's that small bug in me where I was always passionate about food. I used to love going out to eat, exploring new cuisines, at the same time cook at home. So I always knew
Oh,
that food is something that would really be something I would be like to doing. And then ultimately I took my GRE and IELTS, and
mhm.
I got the opportunity to study at Drexel University to pursue my master's in food science. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool. So you're from chemical background, right?
right.
So food industry is quite rare in chemical industry because people mostly go into maybe consulting firms or they go for petrochemical industries. And how do you feel after being completing your masters in food industry?
As far as today, I can say that it is the best option I have chosen. In a certain way, I'm sure others have their own preferences, they have their own passions. But
True.
looking at, since you just said that chemical engineering and food industry is not something that is thought about, and that is something even I wasn't quite sure until I had the I believe I was just supported by really good guides. There was Dr. Pangarkar, who was the HOD of UD City
Okay.
in Mumbai. There was Niranjan sir, who is currently a professor in UK at Reading University. So these two people have been a great support along with my parents. Niranjan sir is someone who took up, food science and food engineering technology further after his chemical engineering. And that is where I found that inspiration and motivation that, food engineering, food technology, and food science is a sub branch of chemical engineering. And it is very pivotal at the moment that people do realize that, because ultimately, even in today's demographics and looking at India, food is something that needs to be given more attention for sustainability, first of all. And secondly, as the generations are growing, the type of food we eat or the type of products that are on shelf need to be moderated in a way. So
Mhm.
that is somewhere, chemical engineers do play an important role. But again, looking at India and what I was saying, that there is so much of scope in India for food industry per se, and so much of scope for food scientists and technologists. And again, coming to how chemical engineering is related to that, there's so much from chemical engineering you can bring to food. You won't believe
Mhm.
me. There are many subjects we have learned, and that is something you can surely bring to this industry.
Mhm.
Work tremendously well because you're already good at so many things, which maybe people who have done their bachelor's in food science and engineering might have not done. Another really growing stream is biotechnology in the food industry as well. So not only
Mhm.
chemical engineers, but even biotech people should look at this space and this practice area.
How did you choose this university specifically?
Well, it's a long story actually, and I wasn't the one who chose this university. The university
Okay.
chose me, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's pretty cool because, there's a procedure. Every student out there is like, they want to get into Ivy Leagues and things like that. Of course, that was my dream too. But
right.
again, considering my scores and everything, I knew that I'm not fit for an Ivy League, but I knew my passion is there. And that is something that would bring me on board to some really good universities. So ultimately, you know what, while choosing universities, this is a great tip for you guys out there. Do not look what the university ranking is. Look at the program ranking. So
True.
currently, Drexel University ranks third in the world for its food science and hospitality management program. So that is something really cool about it. So I was working in the microbiology lab, and I asked my professor, why did you choose me? And what was the procedure like? So I think it's really important for us to even know what the procedure is like.
Right.
So there are multiple resumes they get, multiple applications they get, and they have to skim through it. So usually what happens is the assistant professors at that program skim through the initial applications. And
Mhm.
if they find some good candidates, they shortlist them. Then it goes to the dean.
Okay.
And then the dean is like, what's on his resume? What's his passion? Why does he want to come here? So answering
Mhm.
those questions is really important. At the same time, not just why do you want to come here, what will you do when you come here? So that is another important aspect of it. And to
Right.
portray these questions or to answer these questions in the right manner is really important. My SOP was 2 pages long, and I remember one page was just about what will I do when I get there. Because
Okay.
ultimately we have to believe, okay, so India currently has a very few food science programs.
Mhm.
IIT has a few. There's one in Mysore as well. That's
Okay.
CFTRI. So there,
Okay.
there are these selective universities which are really difficult to get in. But at the same
Mhm.
time, we also need to understand that, the facilities they have, and the equipment, or just, the opportunities they have in those places are few or not that resourceful as compared to the US or even Canada in a way, or
Right.
Australia or any other reputed university abroad. So I took that opportunity to address, what I would be doing at the university, and I think I have justified that in a way
Mhm.
because I have been working with the Drexel Food Lab. But yeah, I think
Right.
that answers the question of, how I went from chemical to food and why Drexel.
Yes.
So it's basically
Yes.
not you choosing the university choosing you. But
True.
your
True.
job there is to show the university that you are the fit.
What you have. Right.
Right, right.
Exactly. So, on the same line, so you said that you worked in food lab also in Drexel University.
Right.
So, what's this like to be in food industry? What work do you do?
So first of all, what we do is there are multiple criterias and multiple, routes to it as well. We can always
Mhm.
go for quality assurance, quality control, project management,
Right.
innovation management, which is currently something new, and you can see it with plant-based foods and other products that are coming out in the market,
Mm.
which are maybe gluten-free, kosher-free, and things like
Right.
that.
Right.
So those are some things you can go to. There's another aspect to it, that is R&D, which is product development
Right.
again. So you
Yeah.
get the opportunity to work on new products, and ultimately there's a big high satisfaction that your product is going to be eaten by mass number of people. For example, I worked on an ice cream formulation a couple of months ago,
Oh.
and that formulation is in market today. And it feels so good, that there are people who are liking that product. At the same time, it feels
Mhm.
good that you get a good review, and you never get the opportunity to mention that I have worked on this formulation. But there's that inner
Right.
satisfaction that is like,
True.
यार मेरा प्रोडक्ट खा रहा है मजा आ रही है. So yeah, there's
Right.
so many things to it. You can work also as academia. You can get into research. You can get into doing furthering your education as a PhD candidate.
Okay.
You can also enter as a professor. to any universities, and I think that's a great stream to be. So I think these are some things where one can work in the food industry.
Mhm. Cool, cool. So now coming specifically to your course, how much does it cost to complete the entire course, including your living expenditure?
Including living. So let's break that down. So usually a course is scheduled into number of credits you take. So
Okay.
each course would be around 3 credits, and you have to complete a certain set of credits. So my university has 45 credits. Most of the
Okay.
universities have 45 credits. So every course you take has a particular fee, and that's on the only of the program I'm talking about. So Drexel University is around, say, $6,000 per course,
Okay.
and living expense would come around. So living expense completely depends on you. Okay, uh, if you want to stay really big, I know a few people who come from really good families and big families, and they stay big, live big. So that's on you. But on average, I would say your living expense should be within $1,000
Oh,
month to month.
okay.
Within that,
Oh,
it should cover your bills, your rent, your food, everything, your travel also, if you are.
cool.
No. So it should do that. And at the same time, there are opportunities where you get to earn money on campus. So you can take up TA jobs, you can take up any kind of job on campus, strictly on campus, and that is how you can also make money and support yourself.
Okay. So strictly on campus, that means you cannot go
Uh,
out of the campus for any part-time jobs, right?
well, no, that's a big no. It's a big risk. At the same time, it's illegal to work off campus in the
Okay.
United States.
Okay.
So never do that. At the same time, there are opportunities on campus where you get paid a lot. So why, take that risk? So
Right.
yeah, of course, take the opportunities at hand. It's more flexible. They work according to your schedule on campus. And ultimately, the university HR is there to help you out with everything.
Okay.
So you can make a living out of working on campus and then managing your schedule as per that.
Nice. Okay. And apart from that, like, what's the placement scenario there? So how do you get a full-time job opportunity after completing your
Right.
master's?
So let me start by giving one tip to all the viewers.
Yeah.
Start making connections from now. Be it. I understand you have not decided your university or country you want to go to, but global connections is one thing. Start making connections. Reach out to industries, the people in the industry, over LinkedIn or any platform you use, but make those connections from now. It's really important. Not just for finding a job, but to even, if you want to start something in your home country, you can, collaborate with them, or you can seek their
True.
advice and suggestions and do something. So placements in universities works on this. So we have career fairs every term. So we have the spring, summer, winter, fall, and we have career fairs where multiple companies come with prospectus jobs, and you have to go in person and talk to them, work with them on describing your resume, make them understand why you would be a
Right.
great fit. um, so yeah, so I think that is something, how placements are done. And ultimately it's just before you're graduating somewhere, like say June, start working on your full-time job search in January or February. It might
Okay.
sound too early, but that is the right way to do it. At the same time, connections are something that are going to help you out, and if not connections, it's surely based on luck. And again, something, take up as many opportunities you can within the university and within your
Right.
program, to get experience and put it on to your resume, because ultimately, okay, so being in a pandemic, since many people got laid off and things, so it has become really difficult for people to find a job, and especially freshers, entry level graduates like me. It has become really difficult for us to find a job, because we are ultimately in the same pool as the people who got laid off who have a certain level of experience.
Right.
And that makes it really more difficult because they're the ones who are going to get picked up first. Again, you might be the one who's going to get picked up, but you never know what might happen. But yeah, I think the best way to get a placement is attending all the career fairs, working with your career advisor at the university, and also working with your academic counselor is a great thing. Luckily for me, there was Dr. Rosemary Trout, who is my dean and mentor at the same time. So I worked up on a really good relationship with her, and she's been mentoring me since day one. So I've been, touch wood, really fortunate about that, that things work out well. And, if you can build that relationship with your professors and dean, trust me, you'll never find yourself lost. My mom always says this: apply, no reply. So that is the thing. Just keep applying and do not expect anything else.
So what is that one tip you would like to give to students specifically who are applying to Drexel?
Keep your pockets heavy. No, just kidding.
Exactly.
No, just kidding. It's really flexible if you have good scholarships and everything. So things work out. That's not an issue. But I think one, jokes aside, one really good tip I would give is that, just be ambitious, patient at the same time, hardworking, because there are multiple things you have to do, and don't let, any distractions affect you in any way, might be emotional or anything. Just follow your ambition, follow the passion you have, and I'm sure Drexel is the place which would take you ahead.
Right. So, I think that covers the basic questions, I guess. If someone has any detailed questions, they can ask you directly, if that's okay with you. Sure. I'll make sure to tag your LinkedIn.
Yeah, just connect me over LinkedIn. If it's a question I can just text and answer, I can surely do that. If the person is really interested in knowing more, they can obviously, we can schedule a call. Again, all the best to everyone. And thank you so much for having me, Aishwarya. I hope I have justified and done justice to all.
Yeah, you have. I think this will give a basic idea to everyone who is looking for like food industry, and it's very interesting topic, because many of the chemical engineers don't even give it a thought in such a way, because if you think about it, you can actually have your own business after a few years if you have experience.
Actually,
yeah, and it's quite a very huge industry, I can say that. You can just thrive in it. So thank you for agreeing to do this, because it must be 1:30 there? 1:30 a.m.?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. And we'll talk soon. Have a nice day. I hope that you'll get a good job now.
I hope. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yes. Okay, so that was today's episode, and that was about Drexel University and food technology. But if you have any other questions, you can directly contact Sarvesh. I'm going to tag him in the description box. And let me know in the comment section what other universities you want me to cover. Or is there any specific course you want me to cover? And I'll make sure to do that. And apart from that, just like, share, comment on the video and subscribe to my channel.